Want some money?
Hello! Hello. Hello. Today I'm going to be talking about finances, especially on the savings front, and talk about how as a 20-something immigrant, I was able to save $30,000 in the past 10 months. There are a lot of caveats here. The first being, that number is really arbitrary depending on a number of factors like how much your income is in the first place, whether or not you have dependents that you have to support, etc., etc. And so I would like for you to take my story with a grain of salt, but if you do find something particularly useful or interesting, hopefully you'll apply it to your lives and see those numbers grow on your bank account as well. To begin this topic, I divided spending into 5 main categories, more or less, and decided to tackle this one by one. With that, the first topic is housing, and as you can tell, welcome to mi casa. Or rather, more correctly, my parents' home. And I know that this is a trend that has really gone through the roof because of the pandemic, but I figured, we ain't going nowhere. So decided to come back home and spend a little extra time with my parents while I can. But yes, I am that millennial / Gen Zer who is parasitic and lives off my parents. Well, that makes me sound very... That's not to say it comes without its own costs, mainly on the independence front. Also, there are times when it can get a little tense, right, and intense. But overall, I would say this has led to the bulk of my savings just because I'm not spending thousands of dollars every single month to my housing. So if this is a viable option for you, I would strongly consider or ask you to consider it. Why am I asking you? I don't know. Anyway, of course, I know that this isn't a privilege that everyone has, and if your home is not the safest place for you, when you're looking into finding a home, I would consider a couple of things. Top 3 things being location, finding roommates, and speaking to your landlords. So when it comes to location, using New York City as an example, being at the heart of the city, you're just going to have to expect to spend much more than you would if you were living on the fringe of the city. And then secondly, probably all common sense, but if you are looking to split an apartment with a friend or maybe a couple of friends, that definitely helps to bring down your expenses, not just for rent, but also your utilities, water spending. And lastly, these are really difficult times, and I would really like to believe that even landlords are human beings. And so if you are really struggling, I would maybe, if I were you, talk to your landlords about if there could be any adjustments with the monthly payments. So next is transportation, and I personally do not own a car. I've never owned a car, so I'm not very familiar with any of the costs that come with being a car owner. I'm sure you all have much more to say on that front than I do, but I figured being conservative, I'm saving anywhere between $200 a month to anywhere up to thousands of dollars a month by not owning a car. And just off the top of my head, I'm not spending money on monthly payments or insurance or gas or maintenance fees. The list probably goes on and on and on and on. So sell your car. And then, of course, I find myself always opting for public transportation. You will rarely find me in an Uber or a Lyft or, you know, a taxi, just because it is cheaper to use the subway. Currently I'm working from home, but when I used to go into the office, I would take the bus into the city, and from Times Square, I would walk all the way to Fifth and Madison, which is where I worked, because I didn't want to spend the $2.75 one way to get to work. And I know I'm being a little aggressive, and you know, not all of you may agree with me, but I do feel like even the couple dollars here and there do exponentially add up, especially if you're spending it on a day-to-day basis. Just being mindful of that. And it's all about the daily habits that you're grooming that will help you become a money spender or a money saver. See what I did there? And then lastly, this is a motto that I have, and it's just because I think I just love walking. But between all modes of transportation, walking is my preferred and favorite. And so when I'm home, I have this thing where if it's not a walkable distance, I just don't go. And that helps me save money because I'm not spending anything on transportation. And then also because I'm not really going anywhere, not spending money. I'm sure what's considered a walkable distance varies from person to person, but for me, that's about 5 to 10 miles, 5 to 10 miles, 5 to 10 miles round trip. And so when I'm meeting up with friends in the city, I allot myself an extra hour or 2 hours of time so that I can get there by walking on time. Call your girl crazy, but that's what I do. The third area of spending is food. And meal prepping has really helped me save a lot of money because I know what I'm going to be eating for the week. I make a list of the things I need to buy, and that really prevents me from doing a lot of impulsive buying. I love grocery stores. I'll just go through every single aisle, even though I've been to that same grocery store about 500 times, and so I know exactly what I want and where it is. I'll just do a stroll around it and then just start, before I know it, putting things in my cart. And I get to the checkout stand and it's like $200. Excuse me? Getting an understanding for what you're going to be eating that week and jotting down a list for all the items that you have to buy will help you keep on your budget without doing the extra cart dancing. Secondly, and this is not sponsored by Costco, I really wish, because I am such an avid fan. I'm a devotee, whatever you call me. I love Costco. I love that buying in bulk helps me save money, even if it's a couple of pennies or dimes or nickels. I swear I literally count every cent. With some of my staples like Faya yogurt, I think a 3-pound tub at Costco is $5.99 versus something that's 2/3 that size at the local grocery store costs the same amount. And whereas the one from the Costco lasts me 2 weeks, the one from the grocery store will last me a week and a half, right? Thirdly, it is sales. So rarely do I buy things that are not on sale. One of my favorite hobbies, it's really embarrassing. If you are a devoted member of Costco, they will send you these weekly or bi-weekly coupon pamphlets. And so in my free time, I'll just go through them. And if there is a product or something that I've wanted to try for a long time and it just so happens to be on sale, or if it's something that I get always and it happens to be on sale, it's time to go shopping. So yes, save money, go get them sales. And lastly, this of course can be a tricky topic, but when it comes to eating out, especially with the pandemic, I find that I don't eat out much at all. Maybe I grab takeout once a week, maybe twice a week, but that has helped me save so much money because, you know, just one time can can cost anywhere between $15 to like $35. So saving on that front and utilizing those funds for grocery shopping instead. Boy, no. And on the topic of eating out, my heart just really aches when I think about buying coffee outside of my house because, you know, like you go to the Starbucks and it's like what, $5, $6, and every time I pass my card over for that, I'm just like, take it, but don't. I do have a habit of drinking my coffee at home, maybe taking it in a to-go cup. $5, $6 a day for a week. That's like what, $35, $40? Okay, well, math is not my strongest suit. The next topic that I really want to touch on is reinvesting, because yes, it's good to have however much that you've saved up in a bank account that you can look at, giving you that self-assurance. You can pat yourself on the back, but it is a little like, oof, to just watch it sit there, as you know and are aware that inflation rates are continually going to rise, right? Because that means that the actual worth of your money is decreasing. As an immigrant and as the child of immigrants, investing and investment were really unapproachable topics for me. I always grew up with two principles when it came to money. One is to never be in debt, and two, never really take risky endeavors when it comes to money, and investing fell into that category. So when I first introduced this idea to my parents, they were like, "What are you doing? It's crazy." But now they're all for it. I have two main accounts that I do my personal investing in. The first is Wealthfront, and that is managed by a robo-advisor. You put in your personal goals for what you want your savings to look like, and they'll find you a plan that matches it. And it's very much hands-off because that robot is doing all of that spending for you. And so I've set up automatic payments where every month I dedicate X amount of dollars from my paycheck into, so that it goes straight into there. And that way you're just riding the market. You're not really timing anything. There's no need for you to panic constantly about what's going to happen. And then secondly, this is more the riskier side, is I do my personal fun investing on Robinhood. I figured I would spend a couple of dollars, and by a couple of dollars, I mean not a couple of dollars. Now, I follow one of the rules that Warren Buffett has continually said, which is to always invest in companies, organizations that you really trust or are an avid consumer of. Just because if you find value in that company or in that product, there has to be other people who see that same value as well. So a lot of my stocks are things that I actually use on a day-to-day basis or that I'm raving about constantly. Yes, Costco is one of them. Lastly, always have a goal, because life will be hard. All jokes aside, there are going to be moments of temptation where you're going to stray from your goals and give in, or at least want to. But if you have a clear goal as to why you're saving up that money, it helps you keep firm on your ground, right? I have a number of friends who are much more well off than I am, and so that means that they're going to be going to restaurants that I normally don't eat at, or they're going to be seeking entertainment at places that I've never even heard of. But knowing and having a very concrete goal, for me, that's going to grad school or buying a house in the next couple of years, that has helped me have those awkward conversations with friends and say, you know, I definitely would love to go there, but at this time it's not really within my means, so could we potentially consider other places? And these are very awkward and difficult conversations to have. I'm not saying that these are things that I'm having always, and sometimes I think that it is good to splurge, but if you find that you're in these situations constantly, remembering why it is that you are not spending will help you actually attain the end goal. Hopefully these tips were helpful, or at the very least entertaining. If you have any comments, post them down below, and I'll see you next time.